Coach, over the years, Louisville and Rutgers has been a physical rivalry, a good rivalry, some good teams, some high-stakes games. I think this is the toughest test you face, and you face it on a short week. How does that sort of magnify the challenge that your team has?
Well, just a short week, Scott, is just put us in a position where we know that not so much we had to rush our game plan, but we just had to get in a really good game plan and make sure our players are very prepared. And you're right, the rivalry is each and every year that I've been here has gotten stronger and has gotten bigger. I remember my first year here, we had to go to Rutgers to win and even go get bowl eligible. And then last year we had to go to Rutgers again to win to get to a BCS bowl game. But it's a great matchup. You have two competitive teams, and it's amazing what Shiano leaving, what Flood has done with the program.
Coach, I know that there's a fatigue about the schedule discussion. The other night on SportsCenter, I did a piece just looking at it where I said, look, Rutgers and UCF, those are probably the toughest games, and you'll be big favorites in both of them. What's your message to your team about what your job is as a team this year with who you play?
The message that I've sent to this team is it's all about us, and it's all about how we play, and it's all about how we compete. We can't do anything about the schedule. We can't do anything about what people say. But the thing we can do, when given the opportunity to showcase our team, we have to make sure that we put on a good show, and we have to go play well. But we can't worry about, because you know what, when you start worrying about what everyone else is saying and then you slip up and give one away, then people will say, well, we told you it was a weak schedule. They weren't very good. So we just have to worry about taking care of us and making sure that we're going to get better each and every game.
Louisville head coach Charlie Strong with us here, SVP and Rosillo on ESPN Radio. Were you at a press conference the other day? Was it a reporter trying to ask you, what is AAC football? Were they trying to stump you on that one?
Well, I think what he was getting at is just who the AAC was just the level of competition and who, when you look at it, who's on your schedule and he made that schedule thing about, who you got to go compete with the teams that are not playing so well.
Okay, because I was confused as maybe you were, because I was wondering if he was looking for some sort of identity statement, and you're probably thinking, 5 or 6 weeks in, we're probably not quite sure. We're not in it for the long haul either. So
well, it was kind of an identity of the conference, and I said, I don't know it. I just know this. It's us. It's Rutgers. It's Connecticut. There's some really good teams in the AAC, so it's the only thing we have to worry about, and we know we have to go compete against.
I'm curious because a lot of times with bowl wins, and you go, okay, what's really the carryover? We're talking about half a year, different guys on a roster. But is there still a lot of value for your team this year with that win against Florida in the bowl game?
You know what it did for us? It just gave us confidence, and it kind of ignited our program because we've been sitting there in my, going in my sports season there, but, for 3 years we've kind of been sitting there and just trying to ignite this program and try to take it to the next level. And then going and win a big bowl, get a win over Florida at the time was number 3. I think that it gave our players confidence, and they started believing that, hey, you know what, guys, if we prepare the right way, we can go compete. And we were a young football team, and we had a lot of players coming back. So I think that more than anything, it made them work harder, and it made them just realize that, if we're placed in that position again, then we know how well we can play when given the opportunity.
Charlie Strong, the head coach of Louisville. They take on Rutgers Thursday night, 7:30 Eastern. You can watch it here on ESPN. And in that game against Florida that Ryan just asked you about, Teddy Bridgewater really, really showed out, played beautifully. You mentioned the Rutgers game last year. That's kind of where the legend starts to grow as he plays hurt. He comes up here, Coach, and we couldn't have been more impressed with how the young man carries himself. I imagine he's one of those guys that's once every coaching career you get a guy this good. Do you pinch yourself about who he is?
Oh, you have to, Scott, because you know what you think about it. I think about during the recruiting process with him. He had committed to Miami, right. And then Miami coach leaves, and then he had taken a trip to LSU. Then we got him to come here on a visit, and I told him, I said, you will play quarterback here. And I can just remember that first year he was just trying to grow in and trying to learn the position, and came to me at one point and said, Coach, can I go play wide receiver? And I was like, oh, no, you're going to stay a quarterback. And we go, and Stein was our quarterback, and we go to Kentucky, and then he goes in, and he's taking off from there. And you're right, you look at that Rutgers game last year, we had a broken wrist and a bad ankle, and he goes in there and just an unbelievable effort with those two quarterbacks. But he's an individual with a lot of character and an individual who's willing to learn and just looking to just get better. And he never makes it about himself. That's what's special about him. It's always about the team, and it's always about, I'm being a part of this team, and I don't ever want to be the guy, where he just don't want to stick out there and glow by himself.
I think Coach Spurrier at South Carolina is dealing with the challenge of a great player that everybody knows, and Jadeveon Clowney is looking at next year. And in Teddy's case, I wasn't trying to trick him into talking about it, but it's right there in front of him, and yet he does seem to be so focused on the day in, day out. How has he managed to do that, do you think?
I just think just him being who he is, and then just the way he was raised. He has a special mom, and it is about just day in and day out, and just being your best, and knowing that how important he is to this team, and how much our teammates count on him.
He's a treat to watch. It's been clean so far. We look forward to seeing you against Rutgers and then UCF, really the meat of this schedule. Coach, appreciate some time, and all the best to you and your team.
All right, and I really appreciate you having me on.